Hello, yeah, I'm back here again. Figured I'd talk again. I do that from time to time. I just come on and talk. Just feel a kind of obligation to do that. Yeah, I know on my channel, I've done like a lot of sort of musical covers of some, artists, bands, whatever, and I guess that's been something that I do a lot, and I guess I've had a lot of fun doing it. Um, what what causes me to do it? Again, I guess I mean, sometimes I know now I've been looking at like more like sort of like these current artists that come out with things, and I'm trying to do a cover of it. I don't know if anybody kind of realized. I mean, I realized this myself, but in a way, it's kind of like a personal joke because I mean, I'm just kind of like I mean, what I'm trying to say is I'm kind of like looking at like the different things that are coming out and saying, okay, let's see if I can do a cover of it because again, like I go back to this channel, which is trying to I've been trying to find a definition of this channel. I think it has some kind of a meaning in them, and I'm kind of hoping that that meaning kind of comes out somewhere. But I mean, I guess I know that I have some limited ability to play the guitar, maybe sort of sing. I started doing this thing with the ukulele too, and so I said that's one way, one vehicle I can use to get out my message. I don't know what else I can do. I mean, I guess it's something that I thought of, and so yeah. So I guess I take these songs that come out, and I guess these songs are songs for human beings. They're somehow part of the human experience in the world, in this environment. So I guess I'm sort of trying to think that they are current and they have some meaning as to what's happening today. But yeah, like the comical part is the fact that yeah, it's sort of like these artists are coming out and kind of maybe some genres of music that maybe I don't have much experience with. But I look at it and I sit and I'll actually practice and I'll think about what I'm doing and I'll come up with something and I do it, and then so be it. It's out there. I put out the song, and and hopefully maybe you get a couple of views, whatever, or maybe some people even like it or not like it. I don't know. I don't really care. I know I did this one song. I did a band called Tennis, and honestly, I was not really a big follower of Tennis. I've heard about Tennis. They had this band, and they came out with a song, "Need Your Love," and it had a record. An album came out, and I said, "Oh, I heard some song," and I said, "Oh, that's kind of nice. I like that song, and I said, maybe I can try to cover it, even though it was like a little bit out of my range." But look, I changed the key and stuff. But I did notice that there was, like again, I'm trying to say that maybe there's some meaning to these songs. There's something. Um, anyway, so I noticed that like the second verse in that song, I'm just going to read it. I mean, it just said, talking a lot like a prophet, but there's no wisdom in what you've been saying, and I can't seem to get a read on you. Burning your bridges and spreading around those rumors that sprout from the cracks in the ground. I think I was just kind of, I look at like, some of the things, I don't know, whatever. I mean, I'm sure that the song had some meaning, and I know it's kind of like, I know a little background about that they were, the band, it's like a married couple, whatever, and I know, I think, I read a little bit about them, and I know that they had some issues, some problems in their life, personal problems and stuff. But anyway, I guess that's like the beauty of a song or poetry, where you could kind of take it and you can try to use it to try to make some personal interpretations. But again, like like this channel again is sort of like it's my channel, but I'm trying to take in the world as it is. And I know like another thing about this channel is that it's I mean, I know like I observe people, the way people act, the way they behave, and I think like a lot of people kind of they become kind of a product of like their environment, of how they grew up, who they are, where they came from, their family, their friends, whatever. But I'm always like kind of conscious of this, and I sometimes I try to think that, maybe I could be as if like something else, that like I'm kind of like trying to be in contact with something else in the universe. Like, again, like, it's hard to express what I'm trying to say, on here sometimes, but I know like that, like I had said that this channel was kind of inspired by somebody, and I guess I think of like that person was kind of like a stranger, it was kind of like, as if like maybe you go to the supermarket and you kind of meet somebody, start talking, and maybe meet them again, but it's really, I didn't know that person that well, but yet like, I was struck in a certain way that the person kind of was taking in the world and had like an idealism, and whatever, how that person decided to think or how to behave or how to speak, was really, there's no right or wrong, but I felt that there was a kind of like an idealism, like of like making the world right, or just almost like, I think of like the way a child comes into the world, the innocence of a child, and it's kind of like they have this fascination with the world around them, I don't think there's a kind of mean spirit there. I mean, I think like from the time of youth, whatever, there's a kind of innocence there, I think I think like kind of in this channel, maybe I'm trying to kind of capture that, or I'm trying to take in the energy that I got from that experience, and like I say, like this channel really is just, it has really no connection to anybody in my life, really, as I really don't, I mean, I guess I have a life, I lived a life, and I had jobs, and I went to school, and I met people, and I lived in places, and but like I really haven't spoken to many people about this channel, like nobody even really knows that much about it, and I know, like, because like I guess I know people, like they have like, I like a lot of people that I knew, I mean, I guess they seem to like they liked Facebook, whatever, I mean, there's different types of social media, but a lot of people took Facebook, and people kind of, I guess you get these suggestions like who you want to be on your Facebook, or a friend. You get friended on Facebook, and most of the time it's just the people, I guess, like you're, like somehow like there are these connections that you've made, and I guess maybe the electronic age, the information age, the computer network age, which is a whole other thing, but whatever it is, that we're all, like they can kind of look at your, your email or your phone number or whatever, and they can kind of like find out, put out these tentacles, and you find these people that you knew, so you say, okay, Facebook friend suggestion, taking that person, and so actually I have a Facebook account that I very rarely even look at, but there's like maybe even this, I don't know, maybe there's over 100 people on it. I have no idea, but I guess it's just the story of my life, which really, truthfully, has no real meaning. I just randomly kind of, got born into a certain place and met people, did things, and found a way to support myself on a job, and that was, did some stuff in school and things, and yeah, that's the people I know. But anyway, here I am today on my channel, and I know, again, like I know like that it was kind of brought up like in the beginning that this was something about mental health, and I want to say a few things about mental health. I've kind of come across this kind of concept that I heard about one time, called gaslighting, and I think to some extent, like I was kind of a victim of it, and I think maybe we're all kind of victims of it to some extent, and like I guess sort of like I think I was sort of seeing it on my job at one point, where I know it like at a certain point they were kind of like like they would kind of like sort of, they would have these ideas of giving models as to what exemplary work was, how to do your job, how to do it correctly. So you had supervision managers or whatever they would come in and do these sort of demonstrations and kind of give you these models and say that this is, a clear example of what the work is supposed to be, and there's evidence. And then when you're trying to do your job, you have to, demonstrate these things and these things that were shown in this model to show that your work is good, and all these different points that they rate you on, and then it has to have evidence, but yet, like, well, for one thing, when you look at the model, you're kind of like, you're sort of saying, well, the model that they give you of what's supposed to be good work, you're saying, I don't really see any real evidence there, because the evidence is only that they're telling you that it's good, whatever. And then they look at your work, and then they if they wanted to say it wasn't right, then they could just say it's there's no evidence, But anyway, the point is, and I remember even at one point I got this horrific report. I got this report on my work, and it was just horrible. Everything was terrible. And the supervisor sitting down with me, smiling and saying, it's great, it's wonderful. And I'm just totally confused. I don't know what the hell. It was very upsetting. I was hurting inside. And I'm like, how are they saying it's good and smiling? But anyway, I think this sort of, and I kind of said, maybe this is gaslighting. And I think gaslighting is a kind of like sort of psychological manipulation, where it's kind of like you're kind of like, you wind up, you start like really wondering about reality. I mean, you can't distinguish between right and wrong, and you can't distinguish between what is real and what is not real, and you're just really in a really confused state, and you wind up getting very anxious, and you start feeling maybe questioning yourself and everything, your self-esteem and all this stuff, and it just really starts like kind of like tearing you apart, So anyway, for me, it's sort of like when I kind of look at the information as it's presented today, kind of like the media, a lot of talks about the media. That's just kind of like the stuff that we're kind of like bombarded with about like the world that we live in, and I guess things that are tied in to politics and whatnot, like for instance, I know, like I remember I recently saw some article, and it was kind of like about Trump, and it was like kind of like sort of saying that he helped the economy or he didn't help the economy. I don't even really know, really. It was kind of, I didn't know if it was trying to say he was good or he was bad. I was like reading this article, and it was kind of like, even like the headline was sort of like, well, Trump like, made the economy better, but yet he didn't really, and it was kind of like some comparisons to Obama. Maybe Obama got credit for I don't even know. But I'm reading this article, and I'm just kind of like going from one paragraph to another, and it's kind of like going like back and forth, and in the end, I'm kind of like, really, what is the truth? Really, did he help the economy or didn't he help? I mean, I don't even know, but I don't know. There's just, you find that there's like a lot of confusion out there, a lot of things, a lot of sort of like psychological things that go on. And I think to some extent there are like, people that, or forces or whatever, that are in power that kind of control everything. And I think they kind of know exactly what's going on. Like for instance, and I think that people are kind of like placed into different profiles. I mean, like you could take like something like, well, okay. Anyway, let me mention that, you got like, for instance, you have like the, like the cable news, which is, look, I think more like older generation people watch cable news and stuff. But I guess you got like Fox News, and you got MSNBC and CNN, and I guess, and there's a big viewership of Fox News, and then there's like, and I think they're like the biggest, but then you got CNN and MSNBC, and actually I think if you added CNN and MSNBC, you'd probably get about the same as Fox News. But then it's like within these people who watch cable news, which I guess is more of like an older generation people, they're kind of like just kind of divided, and they just, whatever it is. And then I guess, look, you have other types of media. You have like, alternate media, which I guess is more attractive to people of younger generations. Maybe social media, maybe they get their news from, I don't know, maybe YouTube or something, or whatever, Twitter, or different things, and they're looking at these things, they're taking these things. But I think within that crowd, I think it's kind of like breaking up into like these kind of like two groups, the people that are kind of like leaning towards the one side or the other. And I guess, look, people talk in terms of like liberal or conservative or left and right, whatever, and then, so it's kind of like you can take like any issue, like I said, like this kind of profile. So you say something like climate change or, abortion or women's rights or, Black, Latino, or LGBT, or capitalism, socialism, whatever it is. It's just kind of like this whole kind of, there are all these different things that you can look at, these different subjects, and once once you're in one place, once you fit a certain profile, it's kind of like you almost like have to go like completely with that. You couldn't really just be like independent and kind of like look at each thing and kind of even sort of be sort of neutral in a way, almost kind of say something like, if like let's say somebody wanted to debate about abortion, you could actually look at that and you could debate it, forever. You could go, you could come up with all these different cases and all these different things, but in the end, like, like a human being is trying to do what's right, like they're trying to understand their reality and they're trying to follow what makes sense and what's real and what's good. We're here, we're alive, we're trying to make it a better place. So whether or not, you have to take a liberal perspective or conservative perspective, it doesn't, in the end, you kind of understand that you're taking this perspective because you're trying to do what's right. You're trying, but again, like I kind of see these things, and I kind of see this confusion out here, and it's not right. It's kind of like doing a disservice to the people, and maybe it's done intentionally, but like again, like I'm here on this channel, and I think there were like a lot more things I wanted to say today. It's like I'm always like coming up with all these different thoughts, things that I think about that I want to say in these videos, but this is getting, I don't really want to talk too long, so I think I'm going to try to kind of come to an end. But again, like what I'm trying to get at something, I'm trying to get at the truth, and I'm trying to be helpful. If anybody happens to come on and find me on here and they want to look at my videos and listen to what I'm saying, I'm really trying to do something good. I'm trying to help you. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.